Now, there's dangers to be in the present moment. There's dangers to express love. There's dangers to trust, because if you're living in an environment where survival is the credo, you're not going to want to close your eyes and go within. You're not going to want to trust anybody. This is not a time really to relax. This is a time to be vigilant. So then people they can intellectually understand it, but they can't get to that level because they're always perceiving their environment as the jungle. So when we begin to overcome those emotions of stress that are highly addictive, the body is no longer being tormented like an addict. That is when the body starts to liberate energy, and that's when our heart starts to open, and that's when we start to believe in possibility again. So if our personality creates our personal reality, we make a decision first. We examine who we've been, and I call it crossing the river of change, from the old self to the new self. Crossing that river is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to feel unfamiliar, and you are going to feel like it's unpredictable, because the moment you're no longer thinking that way or acting that way or feeling that way, you're going to feel like an unknown. Now, this is the biological, the neurological, the chemical, and even genetic death of the old self. This is the pain that you experience because the body's looking for its familiar chemical state. That pain is normal, and if you understand that void, that unknown, is the perfect place to create in. That's the place you want to create in, and not to fear it, but to embrace it. And your body's craving the familiar chemicals that it's addicted to, then you might want to say when you're in that place, well, the best way to predict my future is to create it, not from the known, but from the unknown. Now, this perfect place of creation is where people begin to do the uncommon. This is where their soul begins to speak to them. This is where they see a greater purpose for themselves in their lives, and they're no longer playing by the small-minded games any longer, because they're connected to some bigger vision in the future. I think transformation is really the one thing that I'm more passionate about than anything else. And so I think taking time out of our busy day for ourselves is the greatest service that we can do for ourselves, for our family, for the people we work with, and for our community. Now, if most people's attention is on their external environment, on their body, and on time, and they wake up every morning and they get out of bed and they do the same thing they've been doing for the last 20 years, then their body's already programmed into a predictable future. Their body's already on autopilot. They have a thought of the coffee pot, and the next thing they know, they have coffee in their hand. They have a thought of the shower, the next thing they know, they're in the shower. They have a thought about going to work, the next thing they know, they're in their car. So their body is following their mind. If they're living by the same emotions every single day, then their body, for the most part, is in the past, because emotions are a record of the past. So finding the sweet spot of the present moment in our meditation is so highly important, because the body has been trained to be in the future. So then most people, when they take their meditation and they stick it in as another thing to do so they don't have to feel guilty, that's not the answer either. Working with your body and understanding that it's the animal, and we do this in our workshops. We make people, we don't make them, we ask them in their meditations to really get to that point where they're unfolding in that infinite field of potentials as thought alone. In other words, if you're going to heal yourself by thought alone, or create something in your life by thought alone, then you have to become thought alone. This is the key element where all of a sudden now, when you keep practicing bringing your body back into the present moment, and you become aware that it's thinking about, well, what about this thing I have to do, and this plane I have to catch, and this contract I have to sign, and that person I have to call, that's a predictable future. And you become aware that you're investing your energy into that reality, because where you place your attention is where you place your energy. While you're living by some emotion of impatience or frustration or vigilance, then you're siphoning energy out of the present moment, and you have no energy to create with. So every time you become conscious that you're moving out of the present moment, and just like riding an unbridled stallion, every time you bring that body back into the present moment and you relax it back down into the present moment and you surrender into nothing, every time you do that, you're reconditioning your body to a new mind. In other words, you're not allowing your body to become the mind. Now, people will say, well, that's going to take a lot of work. And I say to them, well, what's the alternative? What do you want to do? You want to do drugs? I mean, nothing is going to help you to get to the present moment but you. And if you practice being present every single day in your meditations, you will be more present in your life and less preoccupied with that worst case scenario, that moment where something could go wrong, and living by those hormones of stress. And your body then finally starts to trust you. And when your body finally starts to trust you is the moment it's not worried about the unknown. The unknown is no longer dangerous. The unknown is actually an adventure. So we do the work in teaching people how to find the present moment. And when they begin to distinguish between when you're present and when you're not present, and they're able to do that well enough, they'll know the moment it's time to create. Now, this funny thing happens if you really lock into the present moment. All the things you thought you wanted, you no longer want, because you feel so whole in that moment, it's impossible to want. Now, that's when duality begins to unify, and that's the moment now where you're no longer living in polarity. I call that the natural state of being. And so, finding the present moment is one of the key elements that we use. Once you find the present moment, then the next step is to teach your brain and body emotionally what a new future is going to feel like. In order for you to do that, or in order for us to do that, we have to become conscious about how unconscious we are. And we've been talking about that. The more you don't allow that thought, that behavior, that emotion to slip by your awareness, the more prone you are to be Gandalf on the bridge. And that monster that he was facing symbolically was all of his energy that was invested in the ego and in the old self. And when the God within us stands up and says, "You may not pass ever again," that's the moment that the soul begins to speak. And so we do the work every day to present ourselves as a greater expression of ourselves every day. And in the beginning, it will feel unnatural, it will feel uncomfortable, but I swear there's been hundreds of people, once they start seeing the effects and they find true joy within them because they're pleased with themselves and they got beyond themselves. I mean, in the brain scans that we studied with people, I can tell you that when people get beyond themselves, they are so incredibly powerful. The self that's attached to the emotional body, that's attached to the pain, that's attached to the past. And then, by the way, they tell a story based on those emotions. And Scientific American said 3 months ago that 50% of everything that people talk about in their past is a lie. It's not the truth, because they have a different brain today than they did at the time of the event. So getting people beyond their past, I think, and getting them into the present moment begins to liberate the most amount of energy. I think people are beginning around the world to wake up to the idea that the illusion is becoming so obvious. I mean, every single paradigm right now is collapsing, whether it's the political model, the economic model, the religious model, the medical model, the educational model, the environment. Everything's collapsing right now because it cannot function on the old laws of the old paradigm. Something new has to be created. So then, how do we begin to become supernatural? We have to begin to do what's unnatural. And when everybody else is in lack and in poverty, that is the time to give. When everybody else is in fear and worried, that's the time to demonstrate courage. When everybody else is judging and warring, that's the time to show love and compassion. And if we keep doing the unnaturals long enough, sooner or later we'll begin to become supernatural. So our soul's journey then is to really to step out of the quagmire and the limited beliefs and perceptions that keep us playing in this limited realm, this limited density, where we are matter trying to change matter. Once we get a taste of the divine, and that divine, again, we've measured this over and over again. When you are that thought in that infinite space, when the brain is perceiving space and no longer perceiving objects, it gets very organized. it gets very coherent. And when the brain gets coherent, we get coherent. When the heart gets coherent, we love way more. And that's when we begin to emulate the divine. So over and over again, as we begin to climb out of these limited states, and we break free from those survival emotions that keep us feeling more like matter and less like energy, the side effect of all of that is becoming more energy and less matter, and that's when we start to demonstrate being a vibrational being. The field around our bodies when we're living in stress is about 3.
Luôn luôn thế, hãy sống và yêu thật lòng. Có ai biết trước ngày mai như thế nào, hãy cứ trân trọng xung quanh ta. Cười lên, ngày mai đã đến. Ta cảm ơn cuộc đời đã cho ta thấy bình minh. Hạnh phúc là đây, tìm kiếm đâu chỉ xa vời. Có nhiều đây được rồi, không cần câu sâu. Hãy bên anh em nhé, hạnh phúc ở đây mà. Tìm làm chi xa vời, hạnh phúc bên cạnh anh. Hãy nhận bằng lắng nghe con tim của anh đang thì thầm và nói sẽ mang đến hạnh phúc. Đời luôn luôn thế, hãy sống và yêu thật lòng. Có ai biết trước ngày mai như thế nào, hãy cứ trân trọng xung quanh ta.
4 inches in size. Open your heart, it can be up to 9 meters wide. We measured it. And so then when you begin to open your heart, you feel connected to something greater. That's the beginning. That's when the soul says, now I have infinite possibilities to experience, and I get to select as a free-willed individual where I want to place my attention. That's when we're liberated. So I think it's a great time for us to begin to really embody this information. I think it's a great time for us to hit the low points, to see those illusions. I mean, I had my own awakening, and you reach a point where you realize that the only time that you feel like yourself is you need the external world to remind you of it. That's a sign. When you can find an identity of yourself in the quietness and solitude of your own presence, that's when you're no longer seduced by the external world, and that's when you begin to experience true freedom.
I hope you enjoyed this amazing interview with Dr. Joe Dispenza. We are continuing with our daily practice of completing the inspiring quotes. You need to complete the quote with the words that are missing, and if you can do it first and give us the right answer, you're the daily winner. In the previous video we were looking for 2 words of the Joe Dispenza's quote. The quote goes like this: whenever you say I am anything, you're commanding your mind and your body towards, and the correct answer was a destiny. So whenever you say I am anything, you are commanding your mind and your body towards a destiny. Congratulations to everyone with the correct answer, and to everyone who tried but didn't guess the answer. Today's quote is also from Joe Dispenza. We are looking for 2 words, so the quote goes like this: turn your brain from a record of the past into a map of. Write your answers in the comments below the video and tell me if you love this video and our new way of ending the videos. If you like this video, give your thumbs up and share it with your friends. Help me make this video more popular by sharing it. Even if you're not sure what the correct answer is, try and guess. The first one with the correct answer is the winner. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button and don't miss any of new videos and new challenges. If you really like what we do here and want to support us, you can join our channel and our community for a symbolic fee and gain many other additional features. You can do that by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button, or you can click on the link in the description of this video. Stay good and have a great day!
Cuộc đời thật vui khi ta có nhau trong đời. Một ngày cứ thế trôi qua và ta nhận lại bao nhiêu tiếng cười. Mình chỉ nhau đi quanh phố phường. Anh là người khiến con tim em mất thương. Chỉ cần ngày và nắng lên, đèn Facebook được sáng tên là cuộc đời của ta cứ trôi như êm đềm. Chỉ cần ngày và nắng lên, đèn Facebook được sáng tên là cuộc đời của ta sống trong mini game. Người nhảy múa trong phòng toàn hơi men, cùng đắm say trong điệu nhạc cũ mềm. Mình cùng đưa nhau sang Paris để ngân trái tim ta thân thì làm những điều mà ta muốn. Khi nhạc trình thì ta xuống uống cạn ly khi chạy đến nơi đây vẫn còn suy. Đừng mơ đến được vì như hồng màu, bất chế độ yêu anh như tình yêu màu hồng. Anh như là con thuyền, em muốn được đắm chìm. Anh như là cơn nghiện, làm con tim em yêu đến phát điên. Mình chỉ nhau đi quanh phố phường. Anh là người khiến con tim em mất thương. Chỉ cần ngày và nắng lên, đèn Facebook được sáng tên là cuộc đời của ta cứ trôi như êm đềm. Chỉ cần ngày và nắng lên, đèn Facebook được sáng tên là cuộc đời của ta sống trong mini game. Mình nhảy múa trong phòng toàn hơi men, cùng đắm say trong điệu nhạc cũ mềm. Mình cùng đưa nhau sang Paris để ngân trái tim ta thân thì làm những điều mà ta muốn. Khi nhạc trình thì ta xuống uống cạn ly khi chạy đến nơi đây vẫn còn suy. Hoàng hôn buông rơi góc phố dài, mình em bưng thầm những nước mắt trên đôi vai này. Anh không bên cạnh, giờ khỏi vòng tay ấy là những vụn vỡ. Nơi phố vắng đã cũ một xa, ta chẳng còn đón đưa nhau khi bao giông tố ngày mưa. dòng ký ức đã cất sau lưng rồi, mà mình giờ đã khuất lát phát sau con đường. Chỉ còn lại mình em lang thang nơi góc tối, là vầng giờ đau dòng người dần nữa thôi qua một giờ. Tìm lại bình yên cũ nơi ta có nhau và giờ chỉ còn thương nhớ. Nơi đây em mang em vẫn chưa thể quên đi những quá khứ ai ta hiện về. Và em vẫn thương anh dù cho nỗi nhớ kia có phai mờ, dù cho bao quãng cách có đánh đổi bằng sự lặng im. Và em vẫn sẽ chờ cho đến khi anh quay về, chờ lại bên em, ở lại bên em. Nếu như không có anh ở đây, buồn là điều duy nhất em có cho mình. Trở lại bình yên của em lúc xưa, sự tự do mà em mong anh thật có phải sống yên bình. Em vẫn ở nơi đây mong anh được an lành, dù em có đánh đổi cả ngàn phút giây để anh được hạnh phúc. Em đâu có thể giữ lại được trong bàn tay anh, nhưng biết sao giờ đây, em nói sao giờ đây.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh,
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
yeah. There's no mercy in this world, just hunger-thirsty persons in different versions. Each new update, that shit worsens. Why? Pull back the curtain and you'll see the different vermin.